Welcome to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast with Jacob Ayers, providing actionable content to help you along your journey to financial freedom through real estate investing. As the premier asset class, real estate has helped ordinary people just like you amass fortunes. The benefits of passive income from real estate investing will allow you to live a life you want. And now your host, entrepreneur, real estate investor, and apartment deal syndicator, Jacob Ayers.
Hi, and welcome to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Jacob Ayers. Welcome back. This is episode 295. You're listening to Friday Fundamentals. Hey, I hope all is well with you. There is so much going on in the world today. I want to acknowledge all the people around the world that have been impacted recently. There are times when things happen that are completely out of our control and we feel like we're at the mercy of our environment. Just know that this too shall pass. So with the CDC recommending social distancing, I'm glad we're able to still connect virtually on the podcast today. So if you're anything like me, you've been watching the news cycle lately and maybe even stressing yourself out with all the things going on. While I'm certainly paying attention, I have to turn my attention to more positive news and productive channels to help keep my sanity. And also be glad most of my investments are in the more stable and still cash flowing real estate sector. Here are some books and podcasts I've been reading and listening to lately that help offset all the negative news. 1. The Wealthy Gardener by John Soforic. You may recognize the name. John was just on the previous episode 294. This is a great book. I highly recommend you check it out if you're looking for your next read. 2 is episode 284 of my favorite podcast, Get Rich Education, where the host and my good friend Keith Weinhold discusses COVID-19 and how it impacts real estate investing. And 3 is The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani and the related Mind Valley community and content. All 3 of those resources are linked in the show notes if you want to check those out. Well, 2 things I'm thankful for are my ambition and my habit of looking for opportunities in things. There are opportunities everywhere you look. The eye just has to be open to them. Often, these opportunities will not reach out and grab you. They won't smack you across the face. They'll come as subtle hints. So continue to be open to new ideas and look for opportunities. Albert Einstein said, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." Well, there have been a few exciting things on my end. As you know, I've been investing in real estate for about 5 years now and have been scaling up through multifamily properties in emerging markets with strong economic and demographic drivers. You can learn more about what I'm doing, including markets I'm currently investing in and asset classes I'm pursuing, at the newly revamped website www.ayersacquisitions.com. Well, this week's Friday Fundamental is self-sufficiency. Now first, I want to talk about Social Security. Social Security, broadly defined by myself, is a program or institution that provides social benefits to its people. In the US, we're lucky to have a strong social security system. Our social security system provides support to people in the form of financial assistance, healthcare, disability support, and more. Providing this support to those who need it helps our society by ensuring that basic needs are available to everyone. And then from there, we're on our own to strive for more. Self-sufficiency describes someone who is completely dependent on one's self for basic needs and prosperity. From a homesteader in the remote Alaskan wilderness to a successful business owner or an established real estate investor, self-sufficiency comes in many shapes and sizes. Being that wealth and freedom are two pillars of this show, self-sufficiency is where we strive to be. Now, self-sufficiency to me means relying on myself to create my own success and outcomes. It means that it's my responsibility to determine how I want to live my life, then set goals to achieve those things. It means that my financial success, economic status, and even happiness are all in my control. When you take control of these things, it's up to you to produce the outcomes you want. Sure, there are things that happen to us all the time that are out of our control. Just see the world around us today. But as Albert Einstein said, in the middle of difficulty comes opportunity. Being self-sufficient, to me, is not an option, but rather a responsibility. It's a responsibility to myself so that I can live my life the way I want to. It's a responsibility to my family so I can provide for them. And it's a responsibility to others so I can support them with my own form of social security. You are capable of not only creating your own financial success, but being so self-sufficient that you are able to help others. And since you are capable of this, it's your responsibility to do so. Not everyone is in the fortunate position you are and has the positive mindset you do. The vehicle to self-sufficiency for me is, you guessed it, real estate investing. Being that I have personally only been investing in a bull market and have never personally experienced a recession in my investing career, I've been reflecting on what, if anything, I'll need to change when a recession does come along. We may be starting to see the beginning of the next recession now. So I've been listening to other people much smarter than I am on this subject and building my own philosophies to take forward with me. One thing I'm certain of is I do not know what the future holds. I don't know if property values will increase, if interest rates will stay historically low, and if borrowing money from banks will be as easy as it is now. There are, however, a few things in my control that will ensure as best as reasonably possible that my real estate portfolio performs well in a recession or in an economic upturn. These are the 3 immutable laws of real estate investing as explained and outlined by Joe Fairless in his book, The Best Ever Apartment Syndication Book. These are 1, buy for cash flow, not appreciation. By investing first and foremost for cash flow, not appreciation, you ensure that the property brings in enough income to cover the expenses. It's pretty straightforward. So determine what a worst case scenario would be. If the property still cash flows in that worst case scenario, you can be confident in the durability of your investment. If not, then figure out at what point the property is no longer profitable, whether that's a vacancy rate or a decrease in rents or both. If that number doesn't have much room for error from an ideal scenario, then you may be too optimistic and not safe come a recession. 2, secure long-term debt. Depending on the property type you are investing in, you can usually get at least a 10-year loan, sometimes even a 20 or 30-year for residential loans. By securing a longer-term loan, you give yourself options for an exit strategy, not to mention likely improving your monthly cash flow. And 3, lastly, have adequate cash reserves. This is an important thing that many people miss. Having adequate cash reserves can help you cover unforeseen circumstances, increases in expenses, or decreases in rent. If you couple these 3 laws with selecting a strong market, you have a recipe for a successful real estate investment. Now, just like everything else, there is risk involved when investing. The best hedge against risk is education. So learn as much as you can, implement what you learn, and take action, and use resources like these books and others, podcasts, real estate conferences, and networking to leverage other people's experience. Do these things, and you'll be well on your way to building a real estate portfolio that gives you the wealth and freedom to live the life you want. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Friday Fundamentals. Hey, I hope you're getting so much value from this podcast. For all those resources I mentioned in today's show, you can find those in the show notes or by visiting www.jacobayers.com. Also from there, you can find ayersacquisitions.com. Go over, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Well, till next week, engineer the lifestyle you want.
You've been listening to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast, providing you actionable content to build your real estate empire. Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for personal advice. The opinions of guests are their own. Information is not guaranteed. All investment strategies have a potential for profit or loss. The host is operating on behalf of the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom, LLC, exclusively.